It's taking a minute.
Yeah, it says view
Okay.
stream
Well,
Facebook. Now I just want to see. It popped up over there. Oh, look at that.
all right. Thank you guys for joining us today. We've had some technical difficulties, but we're going to move forward um, and do a live on our public Facebook page instead of in the Facebook group to make sure we get to do this today. We will be discussing our first impressions of Dread Nation. This is Booktini's first official sci-fi fantasy selection, and it is Dread Nation by Justina Ireland. Joining me today, we have Free Johnson, who is on the book board. She is one of the people who nominated this for our month of May, and she's going to be leading our discussion. She's also a part of the Oakland East Bay chapter. Welcome, Free. And then we also have EJ Evans, who is our lovely literary chair and also a part of the DMV chapter. We're all going to be discussing our first impressions. The flyer said we will talk about chapters 1 through 4, but we're going to talk about chapters 1 through 3
Mm-hmm.
instead. Okay, and Free, you have the floor.
Okay. So for those of you out there who have read these first three chapters, I know you read the first few lines and probably did what I did. Was what the hell? So when she when she admits that one somebody was trying to kill her basically as soon as she was born, it already made me want to jump in. Probably did what I did. Was what the hell? So um was that my echo?
It was my fault. I closed
Okay.
it.
So
Or the
that
not.
that there was enough, and then it's talking about 2 days after she was born.
Who is
uh
she? You gotta
what
say who we talking about.
name? Jane. Her name is
The
Jane.
main character is Jane.
The
Yeah.
main character, Jane, right? This little mixed girl, who was born on what seems like a plantation in the South, in the antebellum
Mhm.
South. And she, her mama's white. Her mama is the lady of the house, and
Mm-hmm.
she's half black. And so the midwife decided she was gonna try to smother the baby because the baby
Mm-hmm.
was half black.
Mhm. Which
And
means it was unexpected, clearly.
right, they didn't know. She was obviously creeping and doing something on the side she wasn't supposed to.
Well, now that I'm putting two and two together,
What you
was she
think?
born before the husband came back or after?
Before.
Okay,
Husband wasn't there when she was born.
got it.
He was
Mm-hmm.
at war.
Right, he was way war.
Right. Uh,
Okay.
but so the main character, she's born, right? Half black, and then the dead rise. Okay, on a field in Gettysburg, all these soldiers who they died in the Civil War, they was fighting the Civil War, um, and these motherfuckers started rising up.
Mm-hmm.
What? What? So we in
Zombies.
antebellum South with a
Mhm.
mixed baby and zombies. I
It's a
don't
lot.
know where to go from there.
Yeah.
It's a
I
lot.
mean, that's it.
Then she
But
ends up in this school. Okay, this is the part that went left, right? She's telling you about this, and then chapter 2, boom, she goes left, and she is in a training school for Negro women, girls, because they are all under the age of 18, who
Mhm.
are being trained to kill the dead for white women. They are called attendants to protect white women of society.
yeah.
Mhm.
I nearly lost all of my shit. I'm sorry, what, ma'am? Like, are we okay? So we're not slaves anymore. Not sure if that's a thing, right? We don't know if there's actually slaves still at this time.
Well, it seems
But
like they're slaves. Well, I'm sorry, I don't want to go too fast.
I
Go
mean,
ahead.
I don't really
But
know. All I
yeah,
know is they're forcing them to fight the dead to protect the white people.
right. It's very concerning how it's been set up, but also incredibly engaging to read.
Mm-hmm.
As I'm flipping the pages, I'm like, what in the hell is going on? But I'm still, it's written well enough that I don't feel stunted by the oddness of the story. Like, it's not stopping me from wanting to figure it out. It's actually encouraging me to continue reading, which, this month, the sci-fi thriller month, can sometimes be hard for people to get into. It's not their genre. And I think this book was really good at already kind of being engaging. So you get past that initial, this isn't my genre, and more into the, what the hell is happening here?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't think I've read a story about, something, a paranormal phenomena like a zombie happening in antebellum times. This is new.
I was gonna say that I think that also helps with, like, I know people are sick of the idea of reading or watching entertainment period that deals with racism,
Mhm.
like, and slavery. Like, people are like sick of it. But this is that, but it's not that. I mean, it is,
Right.
But
but it's a whole
there's a
different
whole new
type of
component
situation.
to
Right.
it. Right.
You have zombies and you have fighting,
Right.
it's
Right.
an action type of situation.
And I
So
feel like the visual aspect of it, like I feel like the author does a really good job giving you the visual, right? So you have these women who are tied up in corsets and these like frilly dresses of the time and bonnets and all of that, but they will pull out a 6-shooter on you, or they have these blades, or these
I mean,
swords that they're
she
talking
had a
about.
list of weapons. I was like,
Right.
okay, with the
That
what is it, a
they're learning
scythe or a
and
scythe? I'm
training
like,
how to
okay.
use against these zombies, but mind you, they're doing it in full like head to toe garb. I don't, come
Mind
on.
you, when they were talking about the weapons, she references a leather thong. And I was like, how's that supposed to help against zombies? And so I read it like a couple times and I was like, oh no, that's for that weapon. Because I
Right.
really was like, hold on
I was
now.
about to say, where did they say?
I kind of had to
Describing the
do a double
weapons.
take on that. Like,
Yeah, a leather thong.
right.
Is
No,
that helpful?
And what does that look like from back then?
I don't
Right.
think that would be helpful at all.
Or feel like, ooh.
And they've
No.
already kind of touched that colorism aspect too, right? Like we're right in it because her big
Mm-hmm.
factor in the school is the most beautiful girl. And the first thing they describe her as is light. And so
Yeah.
here we are already associating beauty with skin color when they all out there fighting. And I thought it was kind of interesting because we read that last book about passing, how in this instance the girl who is fighting technically could pass. They even call her passable, right? But she's in
Mm-hmm.
there in the trenches fighting too. And I'm trying to figure out, is there some kind of prestige associated with going to, I mean, they said there's prestige in going to that particular school, or
Yeah.
preparing you well enough to fight the Shamblers, which I'm interested to figure out how they determined that was
That name.
of the zombies, right?
Yeah.
What is a
Shambles.
shamble? You know, I,
Your life is in shambles now after you
right?
get beat? I don't know.
But no, who knows? But it's just so interesting. So she's like, this is the school that's going to prepare me the best. So at least her white mama decided to send her to the best of the Negro fighting schools. Although, if my mama, in my head, this whole thing is, why am I fighting zombies? I got a white mama who run this plantation. Like, this shouldn't be my burden. But at the same time, I mean, we know about how
Something
when
happens.
first
Yeah.
that happens, that's not even a question. If it's the man of the house and he's, having his way with his slaves, that's a nice way to say it. I'm trying to keep it slightly PG on the Zoom. That they're just regarded as the same as everybody else on the plantation and it doesn't matter. So I guess even if you don't want to carry the baby and push the baby out, she among the masses, just like everybody else.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just so weird. There's so many thoughts intertwining in this story that it needs to flesh out. And I'm glad that it's a great book and that there's a sequel, because then you could just kind of build on this mystic story that they're telling.
Mhm.
Well, so between the chapters, there's like excerpts from letters
Mhm.
that are those letters her, because it doesn't necessarily say specifically that it's her writing to her mom.
The
Do you
first,
know, Free?
after the first,
I think that is the assumption, that it's from
Yeah.
letters that she's been writing to her mom while she's been away at school.
Okay, because
Yeah.
I was assuming that, but I was like, what if it's a twist and this is there's something else that's from someone else writing to some or whatever. But also, you said about her mom getting her into this school, but her mom hasn't responded to any of her letters in 3 years.
So I
Right.
think
So
that's
something happened.
yeah. There's a question as to what's going on at Rose Hill. She keeps referencing going back, and you're like, well, Rose Hill, I feel like she's leaving off that word plantation at the end. But what's going on at the plantation? So there is question. So it's like she's thinking my mama may not even be there when I'm done.
Right.
And that's the reason why she's not responding. So I do, and then she also references that there's only 2 places in this world that she's ever lived. And so if she gets kicked out of the
She has
school,
to go back to the plantation.
yeah, but she don't even know if the plantation is there. And so she's like, I'll be homeless if I get kicked out. Go ahead.
Sorry. I'm assuming, this is me and my wild imagination, that she was sent away because she had to be sent away. I don't know if that's true, but being as though, I mean, she did have a white mama, and it seemed like that would have protected her in some kind of way. I mean, not always, but in some kind of way, possibly, especially since her mom was still running the plantation when she was a baby and younger. Your face free is making me feel like I'm.
I don't know.
You do know.
That could very well be the case, but it could also be the opposite, right? That she had to leave to be protected because,
okay.
right? If she,
that could be the case.
That the mama was creeping while the husband of the plantation was gone. So if she's a legitimate child of the mom, if he comes back, he's gonna be like, "Where did this kid come from?"
Yeah, and why does she look like you, but darker? What is going on here? So, but yeah, I was just thinking something happened where she could have, they could have lost their money or whatever, and the mom was like, "You have to do this now. Like, you don't have a choice," or something like that. And that also could be why she can't get in contact with her mom because everybody had to leave the plantation. I don't know, but also her attitude makes me think she may have had to be sent away for protection or for whatever reason because she kind of has a bad attitude. Like she doesn't get along with people.
Right.
She does what she wants to do. And as a woman in that time, you can't do that, especially a Black woman. Like what?
And it seems very purposeful.
Yeah.
She doesn't not realize that she has a bad attitude. She's very aware that she behaves this way. And she does it because that's what she wants to do.
Right. Yeah. And there's an air of, damn, I'm getting caught up in my own mess. But that kind of dovetails onto that question about her hater, like her teacher going out of her way. I question, is that the same thing as, Black girls are more likely to be, how many parallels is she drawing? Because that prison, school to prison pipeline, and Black girls are more likely to be reprimanded or punished for things that other students aren't. Like, is this just kind of thing where a teacher is picking on a student? Like, it's just so ripe to draw parallels to today, and then all the other issues that are going on that, like, I don't want to get too into the weeds with it. Like, am I thinking too hard? But because
I don't necessarily think so at all, though, because there's a part where one of the teachers, specifically says that what was the quote? It was something about, when she was telling them she's trying to teach them about etiquette, right? And she wasn't really taking to the lessons about etiquette. And she's like, it's like trying to teach a pack of wild animals. And I'm like, oh, okay, right. That's how you feel, So I definitely think there are parallels to be drawn, right? It's about how you view, right, the people that you're supposed to be teaching.
And there might be animosity in the fact that she's biracial, because already a couple of white people have tried to take out her paint, and she just lived 13 years out. Was that how old she is?
No, I think she's a little older than that.
Yeah, because she's in her last year, right?
Yeah, I think she's like 16, 17, something like that.
Yeah. So what was her hesitation about going, or can we talk a little bit about her hesitation of going to this lecture? Because she's dead set, like, there's no reason for me to do this. I think it's dumb.
I think she doesn't. I think she's just one of those people who, drives herself on like logic, right? Rationale. Like, that's what motivates her. That's where she goes. And I think this idea that because the lecture is about, curing this disease or whatever it is they're trying to call it, right? The Walking Dead. And they're trying to find a cure, right? And not fighting it. Like that's where they said the government has gone to, right? Trying to find a cure. And she's just disbelieving of it. She's like, I don't trust that. I don't trust trying to find a cure. Like I've seen The Walking Dead. I don't believe, like, if there's one, there's more, and so this idea that you can cure it somehow, I think she's just very mistrusting of that whole idea. But I think she's also just in general very mistrusting of white people. And this professor is this white man, who I think the idea of it, she's just like, for what?
She also does her own reading, which she is not supposed to be doing.
Right.
So
right.
she has a different perspective about the cause, like how this even started and what's going on. And she feels like, why do I need to go to this lecture when I could just read what I've been reading type thing,
Right.
And
so that also drops
into this idea of what to believe.
And she's not supposed to let them know that she knows either.
Right.
And she's not supposed to read, which also draws parallels to slaves who weren't allowed to read and how that was dangerous and all those things. So when you think about it, it still feels very restrictive for Blacks and restrictive in the way where we need you to be. And so this is always something that gets me. How you going to train me to use a gun, a scythe, some scythes, whatever, because they have multiple.
Yeah, I was like, how do you pronounce this?
Even talking about fancy, they had a special name for a little sword that's the length of your arm. How you gonna have all this and I'm not just murking the people who are trying to keep me in bondage?
Right. That's why they won't that's probably why they don't allow them to read, and they don't have, and they're, heavy emphasis on manners and how to be a lady and stuff like that. That's probably a part of the whole indoctrination of, you do what we say. It's the best way to go.
Right.
And if you step out of line, you get kicked out of the best school, and you end up being like a servant to some hillbillies, I guess. I don't know.
Right. Or a vagrant.
Shambler. Yeah.
Yeah, and the idea that if you're a vagrant and you have to be sent out into the world where there are shamblers, right? You're not going to be
no protection
in a city where, the cities are walled off and protected. And the only way to really be there is to be an attendant to a white lady.
Right.
Otherwise you're going to be out there in the wild, so to speak.
Yeah.
Right? So follow the rules or go out there and take your chances.
Follow the rules or get bit by a zombie. I think. What would you do?
I've had this conversation more times than I'd like to say.
Because, really?
So not about not about the decision. Not the decision if I'm going to follow rules or be a zombie.
Oh, okay. I'm like,
how long am I going to fight whatever incoming plague or whatever before I quit? And I swear I'm fighting 3 zombies and I'm like, look, I'm done. Like, I'm not doing this. My knee is bad. I don't want to do this. Only 3. But by the 3rd one, I'm like, I'm just going to go outside now. Like, I'm tired. Like, remember in Bird Box where that man had broken the house and they had she was opening people's eyes? I'd be like, sir, you don't even need to do all that. Let me just go ahead and look out this window. We don't need to go through all this where I'm fighting and fighting. As long as my baby's taken care of, there's stronger people to watch her than me. I'm not doing all that. Okay. But I will follow rules. Okay. Now, if they're trying to say, hey, sis, you got to be a slave in order for you to be protected, I'm like, let me go ahead and mull that one over. That's not going to be right. But, if you giving me fight training, now, I'm not going to fight for you. I'll fight for me.
Right. I might go ahead and take that training until it's time to go. And then I'll be like, but I'm going to fight for you if I could just save myself.
Right.
I'm the one that got the skills. You need me.
Right.
I don't need you.
What stops me from throwing you at the zombie so I can escape? Like nothing. Nothing.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. I don't know. This is one thing I wanted to bring up, right? Since we're talking about like parallels, right, to today's society, and politics, right? There's a lot of politics being brought up in this, and there was a part where they talked about the political party of the day and their slogan
The
being
survivalist.
the survivalist party slogan being America will be safe again. And I almost lost it. I was like, I mean, granted, this was written during a time where, we had someone in office,
with a similar mantra.
Yeah, so I'm sure
2018.
some ties to that whole ideology, of what they wanted America to look like and be.
Right.
And apparently they were liars because she brought it up
Yes.
because they were heading to the lecture, and was it in Baltimore, or it was something about Baltimore? And she was like, I'm pretty sure we're gonna come across some Shamblers on the way. And they were like, no, the mayor has said, or the governor, whoever has said that there's no more Shamblers over here. And she's like, yeah, you crazy for believing that. And that definitely reminds me of somebody that used to be our president who lied all the time.
All the time.
For fun.
You can prove that he's lying.
Mhm.
Like, you can literally prove it. And it's like, yes, you guys are saying there are no more Shamblers. And yet we're on our way to this lecture and we see one on the road.
A little girl.
Right here. How you gonna tell us there aren't any more? Who made her a Shambler?
Right.
Just wake up.
There's
like
more
that.
where she came from.
Thank you.
Question. Have they discussed at all, and is it at all, and you could just give me an inkling if it matters, what race are the Shamblers? Like, is it just white people that come back, or is it everybody that comes back?
It could be anybody.
Okay.
Because there's a chapter where she talks about the first time that she experienced a Shambler. She was the little kid on the plantation with all the little kids that used to go off to the side and kick it. And there was a Shambler caught up in the barbed wire, and they were messing with it. It gets loose and it kills one of the kids, and the kids are black.
Right, but does the little boy reincarnate, or is he just dead?
They had to kill him.
They had to kill. Right, they burnt him. So that's the thing.
No, they didn't just burn him. They stuck a stake through his head to make sure he didn't become a Shambler.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, it could be black people.
Because you got to turn.
Yeah, it takes a minute.
Yeah.
So they said they stuck a stake through his head, and then they burned him after that to make sure.
Okay. Because I think that's part of to me, I was like, maybe there's like a class issue where it's like, well, do we want black people fighting the white undead kind of thing? But since it doesn't matter, then it's fine.
I was going to say that would have been a good twist. If black people can't become Shamblers, then they would be the ones with the power.
Right. That would have been a great, interesting twist. But when they said, the battle was in Gettysburg and then the dead rose, I know that in that instance, there were black people that were fighting. There were slaves that were conscripted into the war. It's just, I didn't know if that was something where, if you was one of those slaves and you looking around and all the white people got up and they zombies, if you like, the hell,
Right. But I mean, I'm pretty sure a great majority of those soldiers were white.
They certainly were.
Yeah. Did y'all notice? Because they referenced the war quite a bit, and I said Civil War, right? Because in real life, that's what the war was. But in the book, it was the War of Northern Aggression.
That's what they call it in the South, though. They call the Civil War the War of Northern Aggression in the South. That is like, imagine people wearing Confederate flags walking around. That's what they call it. Oh. And they, and their whole thing is that it's about states' rights. And even when they were talking about Virginia,
that one growing up in California, I didn't get that in a class.
When they were talking about how the Virginians, she didn't like people from Virginia, and the whole Mason-Dixon, me as a Marylander felt a little kind of way because Mason-Dixon's right at the top of our state between Pennsylvania and Maryland. But at the same time, I'm not defending this racist ass state, so let me just be quiet. Same time.
I'm gonna stay over here on the fence.
Right. I'm watching that. I was like, okay, Virginia doing a lot more than Virginia did, but let me go ahead and be, what I'm saying? Even when you said Baltimore, I was like, oh my goodness, people from Baltimore say Baltimore. So like, it's like, I was like, pronouncing that T so hard just doesn't feel authentic.
My bad. I don't know. Yeah. Just pronounce it how it's spelled. My bad.
Right. There's a T in it, EJ. I know.
You talk to enunciate.
Although I did see a TikTok that y'all don't pronounce your T's.
You
Like,
know what?
piano
I thought that was
and
all
Santa
black
Ana.
people.
No.
I thought that was all black people. We don't, but it's true. I saw that TikTok.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I will admit we do have an accent. I mean, it is how everybody else is supposed to talk, but we do have an accent.
You're so funny. The first time I heard you say hecka and hella.
I'm not gonna agree to that. I'm not gonna agree.
You're not gonna agree with what?
He's like, that's
we got an accent. I'm not agreeing to that.
We do have an accent.
You
You have
have
to
an
watch it. You have to watch it. It was the person really explained where it comes from too.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I'll give you that.
Mhm.
But yeah, hecka we couldn't say hella as kids. That's a curse word. So we had to say hecka. That's where that came from.
No, I was, I think, the very first retreat I went on, and I was like, what is everybody saying? This is crazy. I've never hung out with so many people from California.
All the time.
I remember I was the only person from DMV, so I was really
Oh
like,
yeah.
this is fantastic. Like, I've never heard these words. I'm gonna start using them. I like them.
I like them. I love it.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
back
man.
to the book.
Right.
Back to the
book. So yeah, so by the end of chapter 3, because you know I skimmed because I had the assignment incorrect. Did we ever get to the dude talking? Did we ever get to the lecture, or are we just at
No.
Okay.
So chapter 4, she runs into somebody who may have been her boo, named Jackson, who is also mixed race. He's a ginger black man, basically, because he's he's a red bone.
Right.
And he seems to be like a kind of like a street dude. Like he does stuff. Maybe he's a shyster or something. I don't know, but he does provide her with reading material on the under.
Okay.
And apparently they used to do some things on the under as well. And she is like, had cut it off, maybe because she had feelings. I don't know, but it just alludes to there was something going on. And her little arch nemesis, Catherine, that heifer seems to have she's nosy, but she seems like, does she have a crush on him or something? Because she seemed kind of irritated that he ran into them in the city and she was talking to him. So she's like, who is that? What is going on? And she's like, don't worry about it.
He's very much the follow the rules kind of girl, though.
That's how I am.
She's like, ain't nobody here to catch us, but because you're not following the rules, you could potentially get us in trouble, and I'm not feeling it. So what you do?
She has such a goody two shoes, I'm better than you, I'm the best attitude that I can almost, without even knowing, just know that it's drenched in condescension. Like she's probably just so disgusted. Like, why would you put us in this situation? But I don't know. Nakia, did you say you're a Catherine? That's you all day?
Well, I like to follow the rules. I don't care, even if we might not get in trouble. Like, I'm like, don't do that because we could get caught and I don't want to get caught. So I am that. I'm not a good, I think I'm better than everybody person, but I am we need to follow the rules. Don't talk to that boy right now. Okay. We're going to get in trouble.
I have so many stories I could bust out right now with the don't talk to that boy right now. We're going to get in trouble, but now it's not the time. Maybe after this.
After this, when we're not on the internet. Okay.
Right.
I'm not the follow the rules kind of person. Had that been me, I'd been like, I mean, girl, go on. I'm gonna go to the lecture, but you go on. I ain't gonna say nothing. I didn't see you. I don't know you. That's gonna be.
I don't know. I became a goody two shoes.
I didn't know nothing about it. That's me.
I honestly became a goody two shoes when my license depended on it. Before, I just do me. But then it was like, oh, you can lose your whole livelihood if you don't follow the rules. Why don't we just, keep it tight? But that always frustrates me because I'm like, dang, I could get over, but I can't.
Yeah, I wish I could because I was like, I could get away with so much, but
what the hell are they trying to get away with? You
I don't know. I follow the rules so much that I don't even like. Sometimes I wish I could let that go, so that I could, have fun, experience some crazy stuff. You know what I mean?
But I don't know what kind of rules y'all talking about. I'm like, I bring candy into the movie theater.
Well, I do that.
Nothing.
Yeah. I'm talking about the rules that a 17-year-old would be trying to break.
Right.
not stuff right now. Like, what rules can we break at this point other than like,
Too
I
grown.
was a deal breaker at 17.
Oh, at 17, I did me, but that was another time, another life. I don't know if they put a 17-year-old EJ out here in these streets in this book situation, it'd be a different book.
On these
I
streets.
don't know.
Like, I would be too scared. I'm not fighting no zombie. Y'all gonna have to put me on the field somewhere.
Not if
I'm
I've
not
already
fighting. I'm not fighting zombies. I don't
Me
care.
and the 6-shooter.
If I was trained, I would fight a zombie.
I'm scared. I'm sorry.
zombie out.
Me today,
Let the Walking Dead rise. Look, you gonna quit playing with me.
3 zombies. If they don't solve it, 3 zombies.
3 zombies tops.
And they can be fast zombies, because I don't know if you see there's different types of zombies depending on whatever movie you're watching.
Yeah.
And there was that
I'm
one,
not
World War Z.
no World War Z zombies.
I don't even need 3. As soon as I saw one run, I'd be like, just take me. I'm good. I don't need to do
They
this.
made up. Like, I refuse to believe that could happen. I'm with the like zombies. I can't all day. I'm not doing
I don't
it.
even like, because I know I Am Legend just came on and they were smart. At the end,
smart. I forgot about them.
No smart zombies,
Yeah,
please.
they were smart. They was
If
really
they're
They
you out here trying to save your girl, that's why we're here. That's
yeah.
Zombies ain't for me. If they would leave me
I don't
alone.
think they're for anybody. What?
You know what I'm saying? As far as the things I could attack, zombies.
Oh yeah.
Look, I need to be able to reason with whatever's coming at me. Like, let's have a good conversation with this vampire or something. Like, I'll talk to you about whatever's going on. You know, like, can we get a blood sharing agreement or an arrangement or something? Like, we don't have to go full, whatever. But you could talk to a vampire.
The syringe would be good.
Right. Like, how do you want the blood? Like, I'll give it to you fresh. Just leave me alone. You know what I mean?
But my homegirls who they got it. Her and her husband got a legit, no joke, in their garage. They got a like an apocalypse kit with like camo suits and freeze dried food and all kind of nonsense. And
is this just for emergencies or for a zombie situation? This is just for emergencies.
Nah, it's legit, kind of like end of the world.
Right.
Oh, okay.
I'm not a survivalist.
It's not just like just
if it's an earthquake, is this
right.
that ain't with that
whatever could happen. So that's not me. I don't even think, like, once the electricity goes out for too long and I have to like forage for my food, we losing. Like, I'm like, once the grocery stores are for completely good, I'm used to I literally would just tell husband, like, take care of the kids. I love you. I'm gonna stay in the house as long as I can, and just ride it out.
I think that's me as well.
Yeah,
which is sad. I'm like
coming to pick up y'all when the world go bad. I'm not doing.
I mean, I just don't want to be fighting. I don't know, just fighting for my life. I might just be like curl up into a ball and hope they think I'm already dead.
Yeah,
that's my tactic.
When we were around DC and we knew that the January 6th thing was about to happen, because they kept hyping all the stuff, I was like, "Oh, what are we gonna do? I'm just gonna stay in the house. If these crazy white people, excuse me, they were right. I'm not going to be out here fighting white people for my life. Like, I'm just gonna stay in the house." But I had a coworker who told me that she was, strapped, and she like has a concealed carry, and she had a big old house. And I was like, I'm just gonna hop the highway, and you can take care of me and my people, like, because I can't do it. It's not on me to do. But there are people who are equipped, and I want to be around those people. But if she runs out of bullets, I mean, I'm gonna be like, it's a good run. High five. Let's just, let it be.
Green face is like, what?
Like,
You know what? Now that I think about it, if I had an ample amount of training, I think I probably would be okay with fighting. And if I was good at it, I can't just be trained and I'm not good at it though. I had to be like number 2 in the class or something, and then I'll fight.
Sound like you're not gonna get there.
Yeah.
Huh?
Talking though sound like you're not gonna get there.
I mean, the training.
Talking about you gonna roll up in the ball.
I mean, right now I would.
How you gonna be top of the class?
2021, Nakia. Right now, if we had a zombie apocalypse in the morning, and I went outside for my afternoon walk, and then here comes some zombies. I'm falling to the ground and rolling into a ball, maybe under a car, and
Mm-mm.
pretending like
I can see that scenario come playing out, and I can look out the window. I see the zombie. I'd be like, "Hey, babe, look, you see this? This crazy outside eating people. This is wild, right? That's day one. Then we turn on the TV, see what's going on. You know what I'm saying? We get the news. Hopefully, they got some people to take care of it. But if they don't, I say maybe 3 weeks. We get to the grocery store, come back, food is gone.
I'm like, ain't nothing at the grocery store. Exactly. Ain't nothing there.
It's nothing.
Ain't nothing. They gone.
I like a couple of my neighbors, so maybe we could have like a situation where we all kind of get together for a little bit, hang out, share some resources, but that's got to be it. I'm sorry.
yeah, it's scary.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
free, you can protect us.
Lies.
I got your back.
I told y'all.
I got your back.
I'm not
behind you.
With what? With what? The ball you gonna roll up in? No. I'm not hanging out with neither one of you members. I'm not doing it.
I'm not gonna be useful. Like right now, I'm in PT because my knee, I have a torn meniscus. I can't even run. So like, you really gotta leave me, to be honest. At this point, you gotta leave me.
Well, yeah, I would leave you. I'm sorry. I would leave you.
I respect it. I respect the honesty. You gotta leave me. How you gonna have my ass hobbling behind you talking about stuff? Wait, hold on, I'm coming.
I would get a tarp and put it over you so they don't think that you are a person. You like hide you. You know what I mean?
The one thing zombies can do is smell.
Right.
Oh.
You supposed to like
you there.
From the
maybe pour some gasoline on the tarp.
I think that's how it works. I'm not really sure, but
in The Walking Dead, you gotta like put the zombie on, like juices on you, and then they can't differentiate you.
Didn't they do that in a movie? That was nasty.
They did that, and yeah, they do that in the show. But that's a way. Now, would I wear zombie guts? Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
I don't know if I can wear the zombie guts.
I might be like vomiting as I'm like, you know what I'm saying? But I will wear the zombie guts.
That might be it for me. If I have to wear the zombie guts, that might be when I die. They're gonna get me because I might not be able to do it.
That might be the thing. I mean, everybody has different strengths. For me personally, running is not a strength right now. So I gotta do the zombie guts. I gotta outthink the zombies. That's what I'm saying. The smart zombies that I Am Legend, like now we intellectually the same. I can't do this with you.
I know one thing. I'm not gonna be running from or fighting no zombies in a petticoat.
Like now, that's the thing that pissed me off. Because she said they had leggings underneath their skirt, but then she's like, but the woman who worked downtown. So I was like, oh, is that a prostitute? They get. She said they were above knee length. I was like, that's a hoe skirt. Jesus.
That's what they
I mean, this was the time period. Yes.
Right. Basically,
that was a whole hoe skirt. I was like,
showing half that leg, girl.
I forgot what decade it was when everybody wore those tiny little skirts. I remember I had one that was like this long, just covered what it had to cover. I can't remember.
The early 2000s?
Yes, I think it was early 2000s.
Yeah, I remember that.
She's coming back.
Can't sit down. I remember that.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think so far about the book though? Like, how you feeling?
Engaging. Very excited to continue reading it. Want to spend time understanding the story better, so I'm going to probably reread what I had to speed read. But I am very interested to see how the story develops.
Yeah, I'm definitely intrigued. Like, it's made me want to keep going because there's so many different components that separately we've seen before, but putting them together in this particular story makes it really interesting.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it so far, and I've had like a really hard time finishing books or even just wanting to read, but this one, when I started, I was like, okay, this is an easy read. It kind of reeled me in quickly, and it feels like a fast read. I don't know if it's because the typeface is big or what, but it feels like it'll be a fast read, even though it's a pretty thick book. Like I was like surprised it was this thick. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I got through up to page 49 like really fast. So
yeah, it doesn't take very long. It is.
It was a quick read. And I appreciate that part because it didn't feel like, I was struggling to get through. I think I read it pretty quickly, the parts that I was reading. Um,
Mhm.
and like I said, it's written in a very engaging manner. So I feel like I want to continue reading and understand the story a lot better. So I am really excited to continue.
And I want to see what's going on with Jane and Jackson. What's gonna happen with them? I want to know if Jane is gonna get kicked out of school because she definitely was about to get kicked out of school because she is out of control. Like I'm one of those people that, like I said, I'm a rule follower, and I'm reading this like, okay, her teacher did set her up for failure. She was giving her harder questions than everyone else, which is not cool. But then the other stuff she was in trouble for, I'm like, would you just do what you got to do?
Right, come on now.
You know you're gonna get kicked out of school, and if you get kicked out of school, where are you gonna go? Because your mom is not answering your letter, so you might not be able to go anywhere. Then you're gonna be stuck out here running from zombies.
Right.
So, girl, get it together.
Yeah.
But teenagers, that's all.
Yeah.
But I'm very interested in seeing what happens. So, yeah, I'm glad we're reading this.
Me too. I was just gonna say one thing. I feel like I appreciated that with this being sci-fi, like usually with sci-fi, there's a lot of information being thrown at you, right? Because they're always setting up these, worlds, right? So they have to give you the information about the world that they're in.
Hmm.
And there's a lot of information that she's giving us, right, about
Mhm.
the setting, but I don't feel like there's a whole lot of information coming,
Right.
right?
It's not bombarded by a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, where it's
Like,
woven in and it just feels easy, and I don't feel like I have to follow along. I'm really trying to be like, okay, wait, what is that? Let me go back and read that again. What is she trying to say? What world? What the political system? Like what? There's none of that trying to keep up.
It's
Right.
more about the plot,
Mhm.
and I
exactly.
like that. Yeah.
A lot of sci-fi does a lot of basically definition making in the beginning. It sets the world up where you can see it in your head, and she kind of drops us in the middle of a world, and I already feel like I can feel kind of what it feels like in her world, and I don't think she used as much background. The thing is though that there's still a lot that we don't know, but she's
Yeah.
building it in a way where you don't feel like you're left out. Like you don't feel like there's so many missing things until you think about it and you're like, wait, how does that happen? When did that happen? So when you think about it critically, but I tend to read a book straight through without stopping to have the critical discussions until like I hit a certain point in a book where it makes sense to go back and say, hold on, wait, where was that? And so this has been an easy read, and that is just kind of moving forward without me feeling like I'm missing anything.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you guys for agreeing to show up for our first impression of Dread Nation. We also plan to do a full discussion at the end of the month of our May selection, and I'm hoping we can get the author to join us. We shall see. It's not guaranteed, but even if she doesn't, we hope you can join us too. Okay, and have a good Tuesday. Wait, no, today is Monday. I'm sorry. Have a good Monday.
That just shows you what kind of Monday you're having.
Right. Right. Bye, y'all.
Bye.